If you not want betrayal, find a friend like me. Find a friend like me. Find a friend like me. If you not want betrayal, find a friend like me.
Bombe oh, find a friend like me. Bombe jene oh, find a friend like me. Bombe, find a friend like me. Bombe jene oh, find a friend like me.
Hey, see bestie, your bestie not sweet like my bestie. Your bestie la bestie, find a friend like me.
I say, see bestie wanting to heavy. Find a friend like me. I hear them say they want me go. I say
Some of them say they want me go.
I say
Some French la Some French la
I will be coming to you shortly to ask you to renew for a second time the mandate that you gave me 6 years ago. As we stand here today, let me assure you that the state of our nation is strong. The state of our nation is stable. The state of our nation is vibrant. The state of our nation is useful. The state of our nation is peaceful and secure. We intend to keep it this way.
My concern is, I saw something in the carpet of the temple. $150 million straight were in the reserve. 150 million. Let me be disputed. Let me be called a liar by the publication of that 10 over note. The 10 over note was signed by Mananseli, giving over to him. He too attested to it. Receiving. Let the Liberian people know what really you took over from how to work with. That audit was not done. So how do you know the cover was empty and so forth? However, between Ellen and the president, Ellen said she left so much in the treasury, and there's an open 10 over note. He said it was empty. The best way to convince the Liberian people and all of us in the legislature and Liberians is to make available through publication that 10 over note. That will convince the people of Liberia that there is honesty, there's transparency, and that he took on the Constitution, he took on the Bible. I do solemnly swear. When you take oath, you got to work within the framework of the Constitution. The people's property that will turn over to you. What will turn over to you? It's all contained in the 10 over note. I'm not digging under somebody, but it's the reality. When one government takes over from another government, there's a 10 over note. So please, Mr. President, you are a minister of the gospel of Jesus because you build a church and you stand on the altar of God to preach. There is build a church. So please, Mr. President, you are a minister. Please, Mr. President, you are a minister of the gospel of Jesus because you build a church and you stand on the altar of God to preach. There is importance that God attached to oath taking.
Lump.
Find a friend like me. Find a friend like me. If you not want betrayal, find a friend like me. Find a friend like me. Find a friend like me. If you not want betrayal, find a friend like me.
Bombe oh, find a friend like me. Bombe jene oh, find a friend like me.
Okay, good afternoon, wherever it is you watching us from. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you. This is Punch TV Live, and you're welcome to Thursday's edition of Trending Issues. So this is the program where we look at things happening in and around Liberia, select a few of them, bring them on here to you, and then we bring on guests and panelists to discuss those trending issues. A lot of things happening around Liberia, notably we in our general and presidential elections year in Liberia. It's 2023, October 10. Liberians will be going to the polls to select a president, elect a president, vice president, 73 members of the House of Representatives and 15 members of the Liberian Senate. So a lot of things happening in the country, not just election wise, but we'll be touching down on a few of those things and bringing folks on to discuss those trending issues. So you just listened to excerpts there from Nimba County Senator Prince Johnson. He just had a press conference a couple of minutes ago, and we'll be playing you the full clip of the press conference so that you listen to what was said by the Nimba County Senator and the stand-up bearer emeritus there of the MDR. The CDC and the MDR, they seem not to be on the right footing as they were from 2017 up to a few days ago, this year, 2023, January there, where the MDR issued a couple of statements stating that they do not have any binding agreement with the CDC and they're free to negotiate with any other party. In fact, they expressed other issues of dissatisfaction being in that agreement with the CDC. Well, Nimba County Senator and former stand-up bearer of the MDR has issued the official response from the MDR to President Weah's sixth State of the Nation address. But the Nimba County Senator didn't go into, let's talk about the healthcare system, let's talk about job creations, let's talk about employment or unemployment, let's talk about infant mortality rate. No, he just went straight for the jugular, straight there. You said you inherited a broken economy, you inherited, empty coffers. How come you didn't mention to the Liberian people the 150 million United States dollars that was in the reserves when Madam Salif turned over to you? And he said, I spied something. We'll play you the clip there. You watch the entire press conference as it unfolded, as the former MDR political leader, he's referred to as the vision bearer of the MDR, issued his press statement a couple of minutes ago. Away from that, the United States Embassy accredited to Liberia, that is located near Monrovia there, issued a security alert to all of its citizens. We'll show you the security alert. We'll talk about its implications. We'll talk about how come the U.S. government, through the U.S. Embassy, has issued a travel alert to its citizens. And it's concerning the Roberts International Airport. Yeah, somebody said, the RIA again. Now, the U.S. in this security alert has warned its citizens traveling to Liberia. We'll tell you what's enclosed there in that warning as well. We'll talk about that. Senator Johnson was like, you are a pastor, you can pray, you can preach. Yeah, so tell the Liberian people the truth. Interesting times in this country as well. All right, we'll also be speaking to the NEC's communications director, Mr. Henry Flomo. He'll be joining us here on the show later on to talk about the NEC's mock BVR registration process. They've been doing a mock biometric voters registration process. They started some part of Lower Margibi County and ended up at their own headquarters there. We'll be speaking to the NEC's communications director to know how did that exercise go, how well did it turn out. Plus, the NEC has dished out 19 new pickups to election magistrates across the country. We'll be talking about the NEC's preparedness to take Liberians to an effective election from the NEC's angle now. Free, fair, and transparent elections as well come October 10, 2023. Mr. Henry Flomo joins us as well. So when you're traveling around Monrovia and its environs, but I can speak for around Monrovia, suburbs of Monrovia as well, you see big billboards, big billboards. We are 2023. We are 2023. And if you go on social media and even in the communities as well, you hear a lot of chatters about February 4th. So people are wondering what's happening February 4th. Is there another holiday in Liberia? Well, seditionists have taunted this day. In fact, they have dubbed this day, February 4th, as a holiday. It's not a legislative holiday. Let's get that clear. Or it's not a proclaimed holiday by proclamation by His Excellency Dr. George Manneh Weah. No, it's not. But seditionists say they will be coming out in mammoth numbers. They'll be coming out in their millions. In fact, they've dubbed this the 1 million man march. We, a country of approximately 5.1 million persons in Liberia. the stats from the census, they're not out yet, but we're looking at our population growth over the years and then coming up with an estimated figure. So if you have 5.1 and 1 million of the 5.1 presumably take to the streets, that's a percentage of our population there, and they will be descending on the Antoinette Totman Stadium. They will be descending on the Antoinette Totman Stadium to what? Endorse President Weah. To say, Pape, like you, we want, no, Pape, like you, we want. President Weah, like you, we want, And the momentum is on social media and everything, and there is a hype. Well, but there are some questions as to whether or not 1 million persons can fit in the Antoinette Totman Stadium. We know that from the official capacity of the stadium is thought to be 25,000. Well, if you have 1 million cramping up into a space that is supposed to take 25,000 persons, well, that's a huge question. But citizens are saying they are not deterred by the number or the capacity of that stadium. They are going to come out in their numbers to send a statement and a message. UP people did theirs a couple of weeks ago, prior to their stand-up bearer, traveling to the US, for engagement. Some are saying he's gone there for a medical tour. Others are saying he's gone there for, political engagement, business engagement to garner support for his campaign 2023. Well, whatever you take as his reason to be in the US is yours. But according to the stats, okay, Ernest Bryant is saying the ATS takes, 10,000. Charles is saying it takes 10,000 as well. So we take 10,000 as the number. No offense, no disrespect, nothing, no argument. We take 10,000 as a number. So if you have a stadium with the capacity as 10,000, and we have people from the CDC saying they are going to be in their numbers and they're coming up 1 million men, to descend on the ATS, that is way above the capacity of the stadium. Well, we'll be speaking to some members of the planning and organizing committee from the CDC. I spoke with them earlier to come in on the show. They said they will be releasing the official itinerary for the program on February 4th, but they will be out in their numbers. It's going to be a blue tsunami all across the country. Well, we'll be speaking to them because there seem to be some dents. There seem to be some pulling and hauling, I shake your hand, you shake my hand kind of thing. I'm not talking about what happened between President Weah and Senator Kun at the State of the Nation address, though. No, he decided not to shake Senator Kun's hand. Well, that's that. But will the NPP be present? And is it going to be a Congress for Democratic Change endorsement, or is going to be a coalition for Democratic Change endorsement? That is the key question. Because we've got a letter from the NPP that was issued from the Council of County Chairpersons. I'll read that letter and I'll even put it on the screen for you to see. It's a letter that has been out for a number of days now, stating that the NPP is dissatisfied with the CDC. And they've been dissatisfied for approximately 6 years. For approximately 6 years, they've been dissatisfied. But they decided now to speak. According to the letter and its content, the NPP has been marginalized, treated like a smaller party within the CDC. And so, based on this, they might not just be going to the endorsement program. So if the NPP, true to his words, and we're trying to get folks from the NPP to come and speak to this as well, whether or not they will be attending the program on the 4th of February, and folks from the LPDP as well. Yes, there's a party called the LPDP of former Speaker Alex Tyler. Yes, they're part of the Coalition for Democratic Change as well. Have they also been crying, that they've been left out? And if they are dissatisfied constituent parties within the Coalition for Democratic Change, are we, on the 4th of February, going to witness a Coalition for Democratic Change endorsement of President Weah as the stand-up bearer, or we are going to witness a Congress for Democratic Change endorsement of President Weah as its stand-up bearer? Whatever the case, we'll be bringing on folks from the NPP, and we're working out to get Chairman Molu as well to speak to this, whether these dissatisfied or proposed or professed the dissatisfied parties, are going to form part and parcel of the endorsement of President Weah on February 4th or not. We'll be talking about that as well on trending issues. So more to come on the show as well. We'll touch a bit, but not in too much of details, on the statement made by one of the commissioners, deputy commissioners of the Liberia Revenue Authority, pointing to the fact that President Weah's tax waivers and executive orders to suspend tariffs, here, there, and yonder, has cost the country, in terms of revenue generation, a whooping $300 million. That was revealed by a deputy commissioner of the Liberia Revenue Authority, who will touch on that a bit, and we want to get something in-depth to do with that during the course of next week. But we'll just, breeze around it, brush around it a bit to talk about whether or not these pronouncements from the president, he's actually advised economically, or he makes these pronouncements based on political sentiments. What are these pronouncements? Mind you, the LRA deputy commissioner, when he was defending his budget there in front of the House's committee, he said, look, we've lost $300 million on tax waivers, tax breaks, and executive orders, suspending tariffs here and there. And that's $300 million that could have done a lot for the country. Whether or not the president has been advised when he's suspending these tariffs, and giving these tax waivers and breaks and all of these things, whether or not they properly advise of the economic effect is going to have on the country, or basically they're just political decisions, to stand in front of the nation and say, yes, I suspended tariff on electricity and the importation of rice products and agricultural products and agricultural equipment, and this is this. But the LRA have said those pronouncements, those waivers, those suspensions, they've cost the country $300 million United States dollars in revenue that was not generated. So we'll also be trying to get on the show Mr. Moses Carter. I bet you've been hearing this news about whether or not the LDEA confiscated $40 million worth of drugs or illicit product or contrabands, if you want to put it that way. Earlier, prior to coming on the show, spoke with the communications director there at the Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency, Mr. Marcus Gipley. He was supposed to have appeared, but then, said he can't due to some reasons. But he did confirm that the LDEA arrested, seized, or confiscated $40 million worth of contrabands from the free port of Monrovia. I know you've been hearing this news in the corridors here and there, and you've been waiting for the news to be authenticated or verified. Well, Mr. Gipley, I'll be trying to get him on the phone, even if for a bit, to tell us whether or not, and when this huge amount of drugs or contraband was arrested, confiscated, or seized from the free port of Monrovia. Months back, we had the issue of the $100 million worth of cocaine, that was confiscated, that passed through the free port of Monrovia, even after the Continuum had a search notice on it for the free port of Monrovia that, look, if this Continuum arrives in your country, go there and check it. But that was not done, and the Continuum left the port. It was cleared from the port, and then the contents of that Continuum turned out to be $100 million worth of pure cocaine. Down the mesotina you see around, no. Pure cocaine, $100 million worth of pure cocaine. The question is Liberia fastly, in a fast-paced manner, becoming a transit point for drug smuggling cartels? That is a huge question. And what is the security implication as well? If we have drugs of such huge quantity coming in our country and being arrested, or some of them, being undetected, are we risking our country's security based on these findings, or is it a boost to say, look, even if 100 million worth of cocaine arrived in the country and some way, somehow it mysteriously got cleared from the port, and then we arrested it with the intervention of the U.S. security forces, we're able to have arrested, burned that $100 million worth of drugs, and here again, we've arrested or seized $40 million worth of contraband again. So the Liberian security sector or the Liberian security apparatus is on top of its game, or it's a bad thing that our country is fastly becoming a cocaine smuggling transit hub, in Africa. We'll be talking about that as well. We'll also be calling across the country to speak to some of our county correspondents with trending issues from their counties. We'll be speaking to the chairman of the Nimba County chapter of the Liberty Party as well, who'll be joining us on the show. So this is Trending Issues live here on Punch TV. My name is Diamond Slanger. You're welcome. We'll be going to Maryland County as well to speak to our correspondent, Gabriel Musu. He's there in Maryland County over the weekend or some days ago. $6 million, estimated $6 million, fuel storage tanks were dedicated there in that part of Liberia. This is Punch TV. We're not live on the radio as of yet. Once we're on the radio, the frequency will be announced. We do have our frequency though. It's 106.7, but we're not on the radio airwaves as of yet. This is Punch TV. Let me go to Maryland County and bring on Gabriel Musu quickly for us to speak to that story there. Good afternoon to you, Gabriel. How are you doing, sir?
Good afternoon. I'm doing great. Good afternoon to the people of Liberia. Good afternoon to the west.
Good news for Maryland County. I heard we've been seeing the publications as well, where a few storage tanks estimated to cost $6 million were dedicated there in the county to serve not just Maryland County, but the entire southeastern region of Liberia. Tell us exactly where those tanks are situated and who all graced the occasion, sir.
Well, it's welcome in the south, especially 5 counties. Over the week, $6 million. Yes, man. At the foot of Papa was dedicated to the city of Esprit Oil, Liberia, commonly known as Yentu. So the Esprit Oil, the Labrador company, then traveling along the way. Later then business Harper. Today, people start as serious number.
We do apologize there for the buffering and the hitches. It's due to network connectivity there, issues that Gabriel is facing. So Gabriel, you kind of back and in and out is due to the network, I know. So yes, go ahead and tell us more about the storage tanks there that were constructed at the Port of Harper.
Yes, as I rally put it investment of storage erected at the Port of Harper through the Liberia company headed by Leo. Yes, we are the frontliner program county tour in the east. So today, the tank project completed, dedicated to Maryland, map and swift. So the so it's a welcoming music. Now we let this. He promised that we're going to do more and more monetization. We will have not anymore. Because the come the relay of the bar road network, which today very longer and or around to do business up. So in the shop price, the dealer Petroleum company that is how he's going to be doing business. So what's coming new, and effective next week. So
effective next week, Mr. Musu, effective next week, petroleum dealers or importers or distributors will be able to deposit their petroleum products there in those storage tanks in very large quantities as compared to the difficulties they face in getting trucks to Maryland County with just smaller quantity of petroleum products?
Yeah, sure. So the capacity is 900,000. Yeah, in gasoline, storage tank. They have the largest storage tank. They occupy 900,000 capacity. Gallons. So next we hopefully we what and the innovation. I mean, according to CEO, and also is the so it's an opportunity for the Maryland, especially when the route of that solution here. So as we now applications way every day you are now to the port. I mean, these are ready getting. So
I want to get clarity on who's going to have their products deposited or stored in those storage tanks. Is it Express Energy that is going to bring the petroleum products and have them stored in the tanks, and then distributors can buy from them, or they are allowing importers or distributors alike to deposit their products in the storage tanks and then they pay fees for their products being stored there? How is the arrangement going to be like?
Express Oil, it is a company who unit stores. They are a company.
Okay.
So they will do the gas here now. Business dealer, gas dealer, right away and do a push it here. Instead of this company, Espero is a company that gas to here so that.
Okay. So another thing quickly, Mr. Musu, before I let go of you to take Christopher Fan. Tell us roughly what is the price of a gallon of gas and a gallon of diesel there in Maryland County, and how that has affected the cost of transportation fares in your part of Liberia? Okay, so Gabriel again is facing some technical problems. So we bring on Christopher Fan and take Gabriel out of the picture for a minute. And once he's back, we'll definitely go back to him. Mr. Fan, I like what you're doing, though. I really like what you're doing. I like the way you counted the Moko fee. Yeah. I can just kindly, just text my mobile money number to you. No case. Yeah. It's good to see you. It's been so long. How are you doing?
I'm so happy to be on the show this afternoon, and it's my pleasure to be on Punch FM and that of TV this afternoon.
Okay, I see you driving, but I'll just ask you quickly, sir, if there's a means that you can just park off the road a bit so that we have a great conversation. Yeah.
Actually, I want to get setting so I can be able to park in 1 minute. I'm going to park the okay, yes.
Okay, so while you're doing that, we just spoke to Gabriel Musu, our Maryland County correspondent there. The people of Maryland are really, really elated. Not just Maryland, but the entire southeastern region. So let's bring on Christopher Fan. All right, so Mr. Fan, I can see you well packed. Once again, it's a pleasure having you on. What's the atmosphere like in Nimba County? I learned that you guys are still celebrating the County Meat Trophy.
Yes. County Trophy this year was well celebrated, and although some cities in Nimba feel disenchanted,
why?
Because city the Tapeta can't play, and I mean Tapeta, those places the trophy were not taken to that part of Nimba, and so some of those city mayors themselves, they said they felt that the county to the 40th. So as such, the trophy need to go there and they use the trophy for themselves. So the sports committee had about say he gonna make way and see how best they can go in a part of Nima.
So in that case, what stopped the trophy from reaching those two cities, Mr. Fan?
One of the things they talk about is road connectivity. You know, all of the players cannot in the G. And so they have the MTA box that will rented by the school steering committee, and they also have the county box purchased by Hassan Belete. So those buses can access the road from Sacré-Pied to Tapeta.
So road connectivity was the paramount reason why those parts of Nimba County did not get to witness or touch or feel the trophy that was just won by the county. But let's go to something else. News from Nimba County has it that there was a scuffle between the Nimba County chapter, that's the chairperson of the Liberty Party there in Nimba County, and another fellow, due to what he termed as vandalizing a billboard belonging to Musa Hassan Belete.
Yes. Almost Sunday, the entire incident started on Saturday. I tried to flip my camera around to show you the camera is turning around. And so where I'm currently, they have a triangle in the middle of Sacré-Pied. And so that triangle, they have a lot of billboards, they have a lot of samples in that triangle. And around that triangle, they have the Belete Development Foundation, road rehabilitation, Sambo, the triangle. And so people like Liberty took broke the triangle because they paid everybody off their triangle. I mean, the Sambo from the place. Because all of those Sambo that were marked the previous survey that Channel Railroad was conducting from the road. So Honorable Musa Hassan Belete Development Foundation Sambo was that marked. So based upon that, those guys said this particular Sambo that you're looking at, the Development Foundation Sambo was that mad. So you got to call the owner to come and debrief from here. Because we're going to take about all of them were mad. So they brought those Sambo and they left the Development Foundation Sambo there. And so one fellow identified as Otelo Mwanga. He always called himself a city mayor of Sacré-Pied. He always criticized the Sacré-Pied, saying that he's doing the right thing. So he called himself city mayor of Sacré-Pied. So he told just to chant here, and when said why they broke Sambo Sambo there. Then meaning the Channel Railroad Company had interest in Development Foundation or Musa Hassan Belete. And so he decided to tone down those flyers that were on the billboard, picture that were on the sample. So when the motorcycle came around, they asked me, "But you trying to tear down the Development Foundation sample? What are you doing? Why you call law?" So in that the chairman for the CPP, the Musa Belete faction, Mr. Paul Shadow, the chairman for Nimba chapter, came with some guys, and they decided to right, they beat on him, and current as we speak, Otelo Mwanga is in Ganta seeking medication.
So let me just hold you there a bit, Mr. Fan. Let me just hold you. Okay. So let me just hold you there a bit and play this clip that you're talking about, what happened in Sacré-Pied. We do have the clip, and we just play.
Our triangle from way back. Way back. Then why? If you destroy it, destroy everything. Yeah, that's it. From the Chinese, why is Sambo is there? The Chinese fee. Hey, what is Are you there? Are you there?
There, from the video evidence, you can clearly see that he was slapped by somebody, and you say currently he's in the hospital there in Ganta City. But before we get to the well-being of this individual, did China Railway or the Saclay City government give any reason as to why all of the billboards that were removed, only Mr. Musa Hassan Bilitis Development Foundation's signboard was left erected there at the triangle?
Yes, last night on my live tour, the city mayor second president of Jeremiah B. Yang call, and then the on why the Sambo or Musa Sambo were not removed from the area. He said the channel previously marked all of the Sambo that were in the triangle. So on Musa billboard, Sambo were not marked because it was planted right after all of those places.
So because the soundboard was planted after the demarcation and marking exercise was done, that's the reason it was exempted from being removed. But it's still in a place that other soundboards were uprooted from. So if you go and plant something in that same spot, meaning it's not supposed to be there because others were erected and they were removed. Did the council, did the mayor speak to if they're in the process of removing that signboard, or the signboard does not violate any of the markings, or it does not fall within the project affected area, the signboard?
According to the mayor, he said it falls within the affected area. But the Channel Railroad Construction Company asked that Honorable Musa Hassan himself or his workers should come and remove the signboard from there because it was not marked, it was not paid for. And so they don't want to take anything in their hands. So the next day they're going to contact Musa Hassan Construction Company, Development Foundation to come and remove their sample. So in a same day, on a same fateful day, it was the afternoon that Otero Wong took upon himself and took down all of those structures that you talking about, all of the picture on the sample.
Talk a bit quickly about his health. Has he been declared badly injured, or he sustained minor injuries? How is his recovery process going?
He sustained minor injury. It's not too major. He had wound on his face. He had wound on his left right face, and on his back. He had some scrape on his back. So he currently seeking medication, and the matter has been sent to court, and they informed his arrival in the district, and the court will start the court proceeding. And before I go to that, before I'll let you go. Let me just inform the other side. One day was also alleged beating by supporter of Roger S.W. Doma. if you check, I don't know, I forget to say the place. And so, according to Kona, he came from one point out night, under the certain area they have here the entertainment center they have. They call the place under the Oster building. And so when those guys, Musa guys arrived, according to him, he decided to pray and say, "Oh, this is my own candidate." Based upon that, one guy identified as Otis Harris decided to tell him that he was a mad guy. Why would he support a criminal man of people bound for 4 years? Why would he support Musa Brady as Manigo and so on? So against this background, the guy said, "But this is my candidate." Having conversation, Holly and Puri, and against that background, Otis Harris alleged to cement bricks and narcotic oil head. And as we speak, he sustained injury on his eye and his arm and some part of his head. And he's currently going on medication at the Secondary Comprehensive Health Center. And the matter also been dragged to court. And on Monday, they will be looking into the matter.
The alleged perpetrator who used the cement brick to, hit on the other fella, where is he now? Has he been arrested by the police or he's still moving scot-free?
He was arrested by the police and 15. And after the matter was sent to court, somebody hit bomb. And the court will decide the case on Monday.
With all of these things happening in Nimba, just quickly, Mr. Fan, we still do have approximately 6 months to election, 8 months to election, I should say. We have approximately 8 months to elections. And we see these sprouts of pre-electoral violence erupting there in Nimba County. Has that raised the alarm for these political aspirants and even CSOs and even the media and the joint security in Nimba to start to issue words of caution that, look, we have to be tolerant of each other's political views, and we don't want these things to move from isolated incidents to move into group and political, alignments against each other?
Yes, the citizens themselves have raised several concerns on the issue of pre-electoral violence in the district. And they are now calling the Liberian National Police to increase their manpower in Sacré-Pied. And as we speak, it was interesting to know that the entire Sacré-Pied have 11 police officers. And Sacré-Pied is one of the biggest cities in Nimba, and it's highly populated. So for the big city of Sacré-Pied to have 11 police officers, the citizens themselves, they are raised that concern over the year. And yesterday,
you say how many police officers in Sacré-Pied?
11 police officers in Sacré-Pied.
Okay.
Yeah. And Sacré-Pied covers Zikapa, the response to Zikapa, district number 8 of Flompa and other places. And so the citizens themselves, they are for the mass meeting maybe on Sunday, according to the chairman, on Sunday they will be ready to the Liberian National Police Detachment to increase the manpower in Sacré-Pied because of the pre-electoral violence they are currently experiencing in district number 7.
Okay, thank you so much, Christopher Fan. We have to let go of you there. Thank you for updating us from Sacré-Pied City in Nimba County.
Thank you so kindly.
All right, so Christopher, Sacré-Pied there in Nimba County, and we'll also be cutting across the other parts of Liberia to speak to our correspondents and also having conversations on trending issues here in Liberia. So let's go to the first on our list, and we'll be bringing in our correspondents as we get hold of them. So the first on our list this morning, let me say morning, it's morning there in other parts of the world, but it's afternoon here in Liberia. Yep. So the MDR, through Nimba County Senator Prince Y. Johnson, has responded to President Weah's 6th SONA that he delivered on Monday. So the MDR, as I said earlier, didn't go into so many other aspects or so many other points of the president's delivery, but rather This is what Nimba County Senator Prince Johnson had to say. So this is the entire press conference for those of you who didn't watch it, and then we can move on from there. So this is Nimba County Senator Prince Y. Johnson.
Members of the press, you are aware that our President Commander-in-Chief, Dr. George Manneh Weah, just ended his last annual message on just recently. Other political party leaders have been giving their own critiques about the message. And I think it's their responsibility to analyze the message from the chief. Coming to the MDR as a former political leader and currently chair of the governing council, I analyzed the message. At the end of this message of the chief executive, he said he would be going to the villages and towns to ask for a new mandate, meaning 1 second term. Well, that's good for him to request. Anyone can request. But he also said in the message that he took over from a broken economy, empty coffer. Nothing was absolutely in the bank. From the first annual message 2018 till now, he has been repeating empty coffer. The first time he said that, Madam Salif, who declared moratorium on all government expenditures in a bid to ensure that there was sufficient money left in the bank for the new government she was telling over to operate. No government was using money during her time when she declared moratorium. So when he made his first statement, oh, I took over from empty coffer, nothing was there. Ellen came out, Madam Salih came and said, look, I left a lot of money there. If you tamper with the people's money, don't bring it to me. I had taught them a Nobel Peace winner, Madam Salih, a renowned politician, prestigious woman in this republic, in Africa and the world. Can I lie? Can I turn a government over to somebody she gets supposed to operate a government with empty coffer? You know, Madam Salih is our mother. Revolutionary, we started it together. We travel many places. So I have no restriction to enter the house or to communicate with her like that. My concern is, I saw something in the carpet of the 10 note. 150 million US dollars straight were in the reserve. 150 million. Let me be disputed. Let me be called a liar by the publication of that 10 note. The 10 note was signed by Madam Salih, giving over to him. He too attested to it. Receiving. The legislature passed the Information Act into law, making such information public document. So I'm asking the legislature to join me, specifically those 73 going for elections, the White House, the 15 going for election, Upper House, Senate, and all others within the legislature, to join me in requesting our leader, Mr. President, who wants second mandate, to publish the turnover note that contains properties of the Liberian people, including 150 million cash in a reserve. He did not audit the madam I was at the inauguration. Right after the inauguration, the press came and asked me, Papi, you helped your son to succeed. What next now? I said, audit. We want to see audit. Let the Liberian people know what really you took over from how to work with. That audit was not done. So how do you know the cover was empty and so forth? However, between Ellen and the president, Ellen said she left so much in the treasury, and there's an open turnover note. He said it was empty. The best way to convince the Liberian people and all of us in the legislature as Liberians is to make available through publication that turnover note. That will convince the people of Liberia that there is honesty, there's transparency, and that he took on the Constitution, he took on the Bible. I do solemnly swear. When you take oath, you got to work within the framework of the Constitution. The people's property that will turn over to you. What will turn over to you? It's all contained in the turnover note. I'm not digging under somebody, but it's the reality. When one government takes over from another government, there's a turnover note. So please, Mr. President, you are a minister of the gospel of Jesus because you build a church and you stand on the altar of God to preach. There is importance that God attached to oath taking. Even in the great United States, the president takes oath. The speaker takes oath. Oaths are taken for you to assure the people that what you're going to do, what you're going to, the administration, everything, will be in the framework of the Constitution. So in short, I'm appealing to the president. He wants my support. He wants NIMA support. He wants Liberian people support. And I play a pivotal role.
Nimba County Senator Prince Johnson of the MDR, speaking on behalf of his party in response to the president's 6th State of the Nation address, for which he delivered on Monday. So, as is tradition in Liberia, after the president fulfills his constitutional responsibility of addressing the people through their direct responsibilities, the legislators, on the state of the nation, as well as his legislative policy for the year, and report on the budget and the finances and everything that has got to do with the general overview of the country as stipulated in the Constitution, opposition parties come out with their responses. We listened to that of the ANC. They did theirs on Tuesday. Likewise, the Liberty Party did theirs on the same Tuesday. The Unity Party as well, issued their statement on Tuesday as well, after the president had issued his State of the Nation address. But before we move to that, we have Mr. Paul Zerway on the live stream. We're going to bring him on to speak quickly to the issue that happened in Nimba County. He is the chairperson of the Liberty Party there in Nimba County. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, it's a pleasure having you on. We just spoke to one of our correspondents there in Nimba County to bring us up to speed with what happened. He also spoke to the fact, and we did see video evidence of you being in our video as well, of a man who was taken away in not so much of a friendly manner from what he was accused of vandalizing a billboard belonging to Musa Hassan Bilete of the Liberty Party. What happened there?
So Damo, first of all, I want to say that it was a situation that was provoked. Last year, the youth chair of Bao was on the radio, taking out the video and beating. Just because what the group represented. 3 weeks ago, our youth chair was beating by the Cuban representative, and just a week ago, the case is before the court. His supporter was being beaten with this in block on his head. Just for saying his supporters ability. I said the Cuban representative said, "Oh, that yellow one supporting my new man here." So that issue on Sunday was provoked. Even though to some extent who were on the scene, did not handle the guy properly, which is unfortunate. But that issue was provoked. In fact, as a matter of fact, there is another video to the video so that this guy is being journalist while destroying his sound. And that was the second sound being destroyed. But as leaders, we take the greatest responsibility. I will have controlled the guys who are on ground to prevent them. Me, I was alone, trying to mitigate a situation. You see the video, I was saying, let's take the guy to the police. And that was the true intention. So it is wrong as reported okay this morning. That we kidnapped the guy. That guy was towards the police. The police took custody of him, and even the solicitor of the Secretary was for him to be free. And that case is already investigated. So I can't say much about investigation, so that it doesn't matter investigation. And all I can say is it was provoked. Even though it was unfortunate by what.
Mr. Way, again, we experiencing some issue with the network there. Once Mr. Way is back in, okay, he's experiencing some.
I've been in politics for the last 12 years. There have never been an incident where I have.
So, folks, we do apologize. These hitches and glitches are caused by the network there. So once Mr. Way has got a stable network connection, we'll definitely go back to him for a couple of minutes, and then we'll go back to the PYJ response to President Weah's State of the Nation address. So Mr. Way is trying to sort out his network connectivity issues as well, which is far beyond his control. Good. So let's go back to the MDR's response. So it's no secret. It's something that is out there in the public that after approximately 6 years, we in the 6th year now, of supporting President Weah, even prior to his election as president, taking him to Nigeria, he was then Senator Weah, to Nigeria, to the church of the late TB Joshua, the Synagogue Church of All Nations. Senator Prince Johnson endorsed the presidential bid of now President Weah in 2017 in a second round, pledged his support to him, and we all know how the story ended. President Weah got elected 25th president of the Republic of Liberia. But after almost 6 years, the Nimba County senator has come out with all guns blazing, to vent out his disappointment and his frustration in the Weah regime, pointing out several things he terms as being the reasons for the MDR, not just him, but his party, that he has now taken a step back, and Senator Jeremiah Kuhn is now the standard bearer, and Minister Kopa Kura is now the chairman of the MDR, to say, look, the thing what I did in 2017 to support you and put you there, Pepe Buenimi, it hurt in my heart. In fact, I am disappointed. Look at the limited or the small number of Nimbayans occupying top official positions in Liberia. It was not part of the agreement. We had an agreement. And the terms and conditions of the agreement, they've now been met to the MDRs or to Senator Johnson's satisfaction. So he vented it out and on the pulpit for that matter. So you see, President Weah and Senator Johnson, they're both pilots. They're both pastors. Senator Johnson has got his church there around the ERW belt. President Weah has got his around the Baptist Seminary area there, right beyond the ABC compound, the fucking clone, which is well known. And many a times, they use the pulpit to address political issues. That's just one similarity. They use the pulpit to address political issues. So Senator Johnson fired on his pulpit. And even went as far to say the CDC government owes the Nimba County people $7.5 million in unremitted royalties that were paid by ArcelorMittal for operating in Nimba County over the years. That marking show fee. According to Senator Johnson, he try, stay the marking show face. He pointed out unemployment and so many other factors as to why the MDR does not even still have a standing agreement with the CDC, because the agreement they signed expired last year. So everybody on their own. The OYO. Like Teddy Rod and Eric Jiso in their song. Some French then are oh. Yeah. So everybody's on their own. And he even revealed during an interview with the VOA that the CDC sent emissaries, messengers, delegates, comprising of non-sanctioned former Minister of State and Margibi County senatorial aspirant Nathaniel McGill, Samuel Twe, and a host of others, went to him, said, Pape, your son sent all to you. You should give your support. We need to face the thing. He said, no, Koto. I agree. He revealed it. The CDC through Dr. Lester Tierney said, yes, the visit, they went there, but the purpose of the visit is not as to what Senator Johnson said, but they rather went there, to let him know that, Pape sent all to you to tell you that he's not going to, support or shield you this time around. So, hey, whatever the story is, the fact is a visit occurred. Now, the MDR former standard bearer has said that President Weah lied. That President Weah lied. According to Senator Johnson, Cherry is saying there is no sound. Please comment if you're getting the sound, because I'm getting audio here through the headphones. So probably it could be another technical glitch. So if you're getting the audio, please comment and let us know that you are getting the sound, or whether or not you cannot get the sound. So please let us know through a comment whether or not you getting the audio or not. We also have Mr. Henry Boyd Flomo. He's the communications director there at the NEC. He's also backstage. We are going to bring him on as well. So please comment if you're getting the sound, because I'm getting sound here from the headphone. The microphone is also on. So if you're getting the sound, please let us know quickly. Yep, please let us know quickly whether you're getting the sound so we can proceed. Your comment is going to make us proceed. So Augustine Jule Napla says he's getting the sound. So please just comment whether or not you are getting the sound or the audio quality so that we can proceed. We have Mr. Flomo there as well. All right, so Mazola Gize says your sound is excellent, but your reporters are echoing. Okay, we'll work on that as well. So the sound is good as per Augustine and Mazola. So we'll bring on Mr. Flomo once he's all set and ready. So Mr. Flomo, once you're set and ready, just see your face, and then we can proceed with you, and we move on with the show. So now, as I was saying, the Nimba County Senator today, in his party's response to the State of the Nation address delivered by the president, has said President Weah didn't say the truth. According to him, he's ready to be proven wrong. Senator Johnson said when President Weah addressed the nation and stated he inherited empty coffers. In fact, he was given a broken economy and nothing to work with. The president stated far from the truth. Hey, he said President Weah and his government got 150 million United States dollars in cash that was in the reserves, plus a full detailed account of all government properties and assets that was included in the turnover note that was given to him. So we know what a turnover note is. You list everything. What are you leaving? What's the state of the country's, reserves? What are the monetary values of properties owned by the state, assets and everything? You literally let your successor know what they are inheriting. They sign. You sign. And then you turn it over and say, okay, this I give to you. Yes, you see everything. Good. Now go in peace and go and do the Liberian people's business. So according to Senator Johnson, what he saw in that turnover note, which he was privileged to have seen, that there was 150 million United States dollars left in the country's reserve. And so the claim of the president that he and his government inherited a broke country or empty coffers were not true. And if the president and his government wants to prove he, Senator Johnson, wrong, they should publish the turnover note. They should publish it. In fact, using the Freedom to Information Act, they should publish it. But we'll put that story on hold for now and take Mr. Henry Flomo, who is the communications director there at the National Elections Commission, and we'll get back to PYJ's revelation again. Mr. Flomo, good afternoon to you, and thank you for affording us the opportunity to speak with you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the platform.
All right. So we see that I've been going through the Facebook page of the National Elections Commission, and I did see videos of the mock biometric voters registration exercise, which you informed us about last week Monday that would have happened. I saw videos from some part of Firestone and then at the NEC's headquarters as well. So how did that process go, the biometric voters registration mock exercise?
It went well, and we have people in our vicinity in Division 16 turning out. And like you said, it was basically to try the machines, try the procedures. So they came out, and we spoke to them. They went through just what would be done during the process, where you go, sit, the registrar asks you basic questions like your name, your country of origin, and then the picture is sticking, and then the clerk will also log similar information in the ledger, and then your thumbprint is captured. So it was a good process, and we hope to continue.
Okay. Did you, on the overall experience, any difficulties, not just technically, but also from those who were participating in that mock exercise?
The difficulty was that people who sometimes involving hard work, like those in our area of Firestone. I wanted to difficulty, which was one of the backgrounds for which we conducted these exercises, where the ring on the thumb could not be captured, so the device was made to be upgraded so that people maybe up like Lofa and other areas will have similar problem. The machine would have been updated for to meet whatever you have, low range on your tongue or not. So it was a good exercise. Yes.
The NEC is now also showing us that the BVR process, can be done in Liberia, but also instituting practical examples for people to get to know what's happening. But we also did see that the NEC is also showing Liberians that they're ready. They're showing their capacity. We saw 19 vehicles that were presented to magistrates of the NEC. Those vehicles presumably are to serve elections purposes?
Yeah, sure.
So those who received those vehicles, I know they've been turned over to them, but is that a clear-cut sign that the NEC is ready to empower not just magistrates, but all those who will be involved in the process come 2023 October?
Yeah. The vehicle was purchased by government, obviously through the election budget. It was put forth. Additional ones are expected, but the priority was placed on the 19 magistrates. We though there are 15 counties in Liberia, but when it comes to election, we have what you would say maybe 19 counties, because 4 of the counties are shared into 2 each. Lofa, you have Upper, Lower, Bon, Nimba, and Montserrat. So you put the number 19. So each of them got those double cabin pickups, Toyota Hilux, and it will go a long way in facilitating their work. The magistrates are the one who have the main power to run the elections. So they were prioritized. So whatever additional cars that would come, then of course others will follow. But the commission thought it was they are very important when it comes to the execution of our activities.
Okay, so let's go to the issue of the ongoing pin job there at the NEC. That building had been the subject of voluntary painting by an activist, Randolph, who took paint brush, with a bucket of paint and was painting the NEC building and saying the building needs to be given a facelift and all of that. Was that the main reason the building is going through the pin job that's currently happening? Or that was already planned prior to that happening?
The building is being not just painted. It's a whole work to give that uplift. The uplift is image or its structure, internal and external. So everything been planned, but sometimes execution can delay. But the point is that they are going to plan to give the building a facelift, and it's now going on.
So the self-painting protest that was carried out by the activists didn't play any role at all in making sure the NEC acted in getting that building to getting a facelift, didn't it, or it did not?
We are operating a democratic space. Everyone has his right to do what they want to do. And all these things combined make our democracy stronger. So I don't want to speak on an advocate who himself is carrying his own work out, just as we are conducting elections. But the point is, we are planning to give the building internal and external facelift, and it's going on.
Okay. Now, there is a concern among some Liberians when the chairperson of the NEC, Madam Deviata Brown-Lassana, in a press conference, presumably turned over all matters of the 2023 elections to Commissioner Sayon there, to spearhead everything. In that turnover, was the commissioner, the chairperson, stepping aside from all matters in 2023, or that was just a way of saying this person is the one responsible for everything? But Liberians are saying they've not seen that before. What was the reason behind Madam Deviata Brown Lasana, turning over all election matters to Commissioner Sayan?
Well, I don't know what is called Liberians are saying. Liberians, I'm not sure every Liberian knows how they.
Some Liberians are saying.
No, but the point I'm making is we have operation standard operating procedures, and it's very normal that even if it's a by-election, we have what we call steering committee, and that steering committee is headed by one of the 7 commissioners, and that appointment is made by the chair, so it's not turned over, so to speak. So everything we do, there is somebody that will be placed to be responsible on the daily activity. So we call it steering committee. And there's a secretariat within that steering committee. And that includes, for instance, like me, for instance, directors, everybody. So it's a normal thing. So I don't know where Liberians, sometimes it's just good to ask. So it's not like to turn over to Mr. Sawyer. No, it's a normal. Even if, for instance, the Lover by-election was headed by Commissioner Ernestine Morgan Awa, and there will be a co-chair. So the person is appointed, and they appoint their own co-chair, and they head the secretariat to conduct by-election. So, for instance, 2017 election was headed by the former Commissioner Sam Joe. So it's a normal operating procedure. It's just a way of, though we are all working, but people have to be in charge, and they have to, just in case something goes wrong, you give account. But it's a whole secretariat. It's a normal procedure.
All right. So one last question quickly for you, Mr. Flomo, and then you can update us with any other information you have to share with us. I've also been seeing the announcement there for applicants who want to form part of the biometric voters registration process, right? And I see it on social media. Is it only social media that you have the announcement being blurted out, or is also on other platforms or other media platforms like the electronic media platforms as well?
The social media is our official social media platform. It's more than 6 years old. And we have a website. These are our official. Anything you see there is officially connect. You click on it, and then it takes you to the portal, and then you continue with the instructions. There are about four vacancies. You choose what you think after reading about it, looking at the qualifications. If you feel that you fit, you apply. So you can even copy that link and put it on your platform just to help others. You can put it on your WhatsApp and help others because the process ends on the 6th of February. So it's a free and open competition for Liberians who are qualified to participate in the voter registration process. So it's transparent. So before we didn't have these things, but again, we are migrating, or we have migrated, from doing things manually to digital. So before even you are either selected, you must have entered our database. And it doesn't mean that when you apply through the system, it means you have a job. No. After that, that's the first vetting. After that, there'll be interviews, and then there'll be a final listing, and then there'll be training. So it's a whole process. The only difference now is we've gone digital. Before it was manual applications.
The billboards that we see with We Are 2023, does that go against your rules, or does it count as pre-campaigning? Because there's been some level of whether or not it's pre-campaigning or it's not, or it's just something. Does that contravene election laws, Mr. Flomo? Does that count as pre-campaigning, or the NEC doesn't count that as pre-campaigning at all?
Well, I've not seen what you're talking about, but what I know is that the NEC has put up a caveat through the political affairs section. cautioning, parties or candidates or will be, aspirants, to live within the confines of the law. Normally, campaigns are officially open after candidate nomination, where a final listing of candidates are published. That very day, official campaign start. Until then, we all just have to be cautious because sometimes you never know. Your activities could lead to election violence. So sometimes also you got to be mindful of. A lot of other things, including campaign financing and what have you. So the NEC has pulled up statement in regards to pre-campaigning. I cannot speak specifically to what you're talking about because I don't know it. I'm not seeing it.
Mr. Flomo, thank you for affording us your time. But before you go, any message there from the NEC, anything that you want to share with us prior to leaving?
Again, the voter registration process is cardinal because if you want to vote on 10th October this year, you have to register. Else you won't vote. So that process is on, but specifically, it will start on the 20th March. We divided the country into two phases. The first phase will start on March 20th. And it will run through to April 9, and it will include five counties. So the commission is urging all qualified Liberians who are 18 years or above to turn out and register. And you will register at the center nearest to your community or your residence. And then the second phase will start from the 21st of April to May 11, and that will include nine counties. So we just ask that when that time comes, turn out and register. And obviously you get a card that will make you valid registering in preparation for October 10. So there were rumors going around. I think we addressed it enough. But it's nothing wrong with repeating. So we say that there's no requirement to register. Only the fact that you have to be 18 years or above. Okay, and you register where you ordinarily reside. So you do that. You help yourself, you help the country to make a decision. So, but assuming that your citizenship or your age comes on question by anybody, then you have to give a proof that you are. For instance, maybe a passport, maybe a previous voter registration card, or maybe citizen card for instance, because those are documents that will show age, will show resident, blah blah. So that's the caveat. That's the information that it's not true that you must carry documents before you're allowed to register. That only comes in the play, challenge, and it is free. The card is free. The only time we charge you is for instance you this place, and then you go to the government, you pay government revenue. I think it should be $5,000. But for now, once we are doing it, it's free. So I just thought to add that. Get prepared. It's not too far anymore. From now to March 20. So you register. You can vote.
Okay, so Augustine Julian Napla has asked the question, why all the counties are not starting the BVR registration process at the same time? Why have they been divided into two phases?
Yeah, because this is 2023. Why you want why are we not doing for instance the manual registration we were doing before OMR we are doing biometric registration, so everything that's changed. So our technicians, after all of the assessment and research, they thought that we should divide the country. Initially, we even had it in three phases. Now we brought it back to two. So it will help in a lot of ways. We'll get ample time to do training in phases as well. So from their survey, from their analysis, they see that this is a way that will make us to do better and do well. I mean, things are changing. We are temporary employees are now applying to the internet, to a database. So everything's changing for the good.
All right, everything is changing for the good. Thank you there, Mr. Henry Flomo. We've pasted the link and the message, so those watching and those who watch the show later on can see the link and apply. You said the registration and application process ends on the 6th of February, right?
Yes, 6. Yes.
All right.
February.
Thank you. So Mr. Henry Flomo there is the communications director at the National Elections Commission, bringing us up to speed with the latest there from the NEC. So to the issue of Madam Deviata Brown-Lasana turning over all 2023 election matters to Commissioner Floyd Sayer, he says that is a standard operating procedure there at the NEC, and it's not that Madam Deviata Brown-Lasana is incapacitated in any way, legally or physically, to conduct or steer the affairs of the 2023 elections. Rather, it's a way they do things there, and she still remains the active chairperson of the NEC. As to why the BVR registration process is going to be done in 2 phases, he says it's because they need ample time, to compile their data, their researches, their notes and everything, and to allow them to do the process without any or little minimum hitches there. So Mr. Henry Flomo afforded us his time, and hence we were able to get those information. Good. Now let's go back to 2 of our top talking points this afternoon, and then we'll open the lines to get your calls. We were in the middle of the PYJ revelation. So Prince Johnson, senator of Nimba County and then former standard bearer of the MDR, today challenged and called out President Weah to make public the turning over note that he got and received and signed from Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf when she turned over power. According to the Nimba County lawmaker, the president, in that turning over note, signed that he was inheriting 150 million United States dollars in reserve there and other government assets and properties. And that his revelation or his assertions from 2018 up to current that he inherited a broke country, empty coffers, they are not true. And he even went as far as saying, you are a pastor. You can preach. You know what the Bible and the importance God attached to oath taking. And you swore an oath. Be truthful to the oath and let the Liberian people know that you did not receive, zero balance. So that again has caused another stir. And Liberians are also asking Senator Johnson that since you knew this since 2018 and that statement was made, why didn't you from 2018 prior to today come out to say, in the interest of the Liberian people in this country that we hold so dear, Mr. President, I respectfully disagree. That I saw the turning over note and I saw the $150 million that was indicated to have been in a reserve. Why all that time? The same question many Liberians are asking Senator Johnson, that since 2018 to now, when he made his, revelations that he's disappointed in the government, the president has not created any jobs, there are no investors coming in the country. These are things that people have been saying from the onset. So why did it take you all of these years to come out and finally make revelations of these things? Is it that you were enjoying the confidence of the president at the time and things were all smooth and rosy that you decided not to have come up to tell the Liberian people exactly as you're saying now? Or you were buying time and wanting to see whether or not the president would do better in those years? Or it's just another way of wanting to bait, and flirt with other members of the opposition community, including the CDC, to have higher stake? Because if you are aligned to one side as early as it is, maybe those, engagements that you might have with others might not be forthcoming because you have already defined your position. But having yourself in an undefined space means you can entertain conversations from UP, from ANC, from LP, from the rest of the folks, and even the CDC, and it gives you more leverage. So is Senator Prince Johnson making all of these revelations now because he has realized that, look, it's now time to let the Liberian people know the truth, and I'm being honest with myself and doing it because I want better things to happen in this country? Or he's doing it to add more value to whoever it is that comes to seek after his support, to say, look, see, the man dealing with picking. Yeah, and if we go into him now, we have to come with bearing more gifts. We have to come with better propositions. We have to come with a lot of things to appease the man. Are all these things that he's currently saying sincere revelations in the interest of the Liberian people, or is PYJ adding more value to whoever it is that comes to him for his support, adding more value to his MDR and his support? Is he baiting people, that is political aspirants, those who want him to run for president in this country? So those are the questions. But the main thing that we expect the executive mansion or the information ministry, in totality, the government of Liberia, to do is to let us know whether or not there was $150 million in the reserve, as stated by Senator Johnson, who has challenged that he's willing to be called a liar if the government or the president can provide a copy of the turning over note. So this is where we are. He has also called on the legislators to prevail upon the president through a bill of information to say, look, we want to know. This has got to do with everything about Liberia. Did you receive $150 million in the reserves plus other properties and assets when you signed over as president, or didn't you? So it's not just for the executive mansion to respond, but it's for legislators using the Freedom to Information Act to inquire that information. And even civil society organizations and the rest, and ordinary Liberians who are interested in knowing the truth, to prevail on their representatives, because they have the power to petition their representatives so that we can finally know whether or not the president, when he swore the oath of office, did receive and inherit empty coffers from Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and a broken economy, a broken country with nothing to start from. So we need to know. Well, that That is that PYJ has revealed, and he has challenged, and he has said, if that is the case, call me a liar. Let me be called a liar. So let's listen to this one more time.
I saw something in a copy of the temple. 150 million US dollars straight were in the reserve. 150 million. Let me be disputed. Let me be called a liar by the publication of that 10 over note. The 10 over note was signed by Manasseh, giving over to him. He too attested to it. Receiving. Let the Liberian people know what really you took over from how to work with. That audit was not done. So how do you know the cover was empty and so forth? However, between Ellen and the president, Ellen said she left so much in the treasury, and there's an open 10 over note. He said it was empty. The best way to convince the Liberian people and all of us in the legislature as Liberians is to make available through publication that 10 over note that will convince the people of Liberia that there is honesty, there's transparency, and that he took on the Constitution, he took on the Bible. I do solemnly swear. When you take oath, you got to work within the framework of the Constitution. The people's property that was turned over to you. What was turned over to you? It all contained in the 10 over note. I'm not digging under somebody, but it's a reality. When one government takes over from another government, there's a 10 over note. So please, Mr. President, you are a minister of the gospel of Jesus because you build a church and you stand on the altar of God to preach. There is importance that God attached to oath taking.
So PYJ says he's not digging on anybody. Nah, he's not digging on the president. He didn't go to dig or anything. But he's calling for this publication of the turnover note to be made so that Liberians can be aware of the state of the nation's reserves and coffers when President Weah took over as president of the Republic of Liberia. All right, so we move now to the next trending issue, and this is from the U.S. Embassy. Yeah, so the United States Embassy accredited to Liberia issued a security alert to its citizens traveling to Liberia. Those of them who intend on traveling to Liberia, this is the security alert from the Embassy of the United States near Monrovia. So they release, I'm trying to read it. As you can see it on the screen, it's not really legible for my eyes here, but I'll read it from my phone. So this is what the release says. It says the U.S. Embassy has today, the U.S. Embassy in Monrovia is aware of several recent audits of Roberts International Airport, the RIA, of all which have revealed significant shortcomings in airport safety, security, and operational standards. We are aware that the RIA, the Liberia Airport Authority, and the Liberia Civil Aviation Authority have begun steps to address these shortcomings in recent months. However, U.S. citizens contemplating air travel into or out of RIA, which is Liberia's only international airport, should be aware that few, if any, of these shortcomings have been adequately resolved to date, and that several airport safety, security, and emergency response capabilities remain below international standards. The embassy is not aware that airlines have reduced operating schedules to RIA in response to these audit findings. We will update this message should we become aware of any such plans. Actions to take if you're traveling to Liberia, if you're a United States citizen. Review your travel plan. Make contingency travel plans. Monitor local media, airline, and travel agency websites. Prepare for delays in travel and have funds to cover these delays. So that is the official message from the U.S. Embassy in Liberia to its citizens, issuing a security alert that if you go into RIA, you have to be cognizant of the fact that the airport facilities, or many of the facilities, are not up to standard. And it raises the question. So earlier on the show, prior to coming on the show, we contacted the folks from the Liberia Airport Authority. We did get a response in text from the PR of the Liberia Airport Authority, who says, I wish I could respond to you. I just got in Ghana today for study, and I'm processing my documents. So the PR of the LAA said he's out of the country and he couldn't speak to our queries, our inquest, and we asked to get contacts of others who might be proxying since he's not around and to speak to the fact, but we did not get any response. So this is a developing thing. We are interested in knowing what level of works have been done at the airport so far since that 25 million was made or pronounced by then Minister of State for Presidential Affairs, Honorable Nathaniel McGill, that the government was going to invest heavily in making sure that they address the perpetual and long-lasting problems there at the RIA, including the outages of power, the terminal issue, the control tower, and the maintenance hub, and a lot of other things that they outline as issues that are afflicting and affecting the smooth operations of the Roberts International Airport. That was after a much publicized video of a foreign airliner that had landed at the Roberts International Airport, and just then there was the outage of light, and it raised serious safety issues as to what might happen. And we also saw a video again of a Brussels airline, flight that had to do a loop and all of that, and loop before it finally landed in Sierra Leone and all of those things. And there were cautionary messages coming from airliners that, look, we have to be stopping in Sierra Leone. And the government came up to say, look, we are going to tackle this issue head on, and we are going to renovate key facilities at the Roberts International Airport. So we are interested in knowing, as this security alert says, that some work, or if any work has been done at all at the Roberts International Airport, and what's the level of the work being done. This alert might not on a large scale affect the passenger influx to Liberia, but it is not a good thing, because there will be others who will be skeptical. Like for me personally, I am not, for any reason, going to travel along the RIA highway at night. Nope, I'm not, because I'm personally afraid of traveling on that road at night. There's absolutely zero visibility. The road is scary and all of those things. That's another topic for another day, but we're talking about the airport facility itself. If our traditional ally is warning its citizens that if you travel into the country, you have to be mindful that facilities don't work. That is a big slap on our wrist. That is a big slap on our wrist. The airport itself is a revenue generating, portal for the government. It's a huge revenue generating, installation for the government. The terminal that was constructed, the $50 million terminal that was constructed by the Chinese, approximately is to, on a yearly basis, is to cater to over 500,000 people coming in and out of the terminal on an annual basis. Before the upgrade, the country received close to 200,000+ people coming in and out of the RIA per year. But with the expansion, the provision of the 2 gates and all of those things, the airport was supposed to have on an estimated amount receive over 500,000, visitors departing and landing there at the Roberts International Airport. That is our only international airport. The airport was built in the 1940s. Prior to the new terminal being constructed, that was the base for American long-range bombers. That was the pickup point. That was the base for their long-range bombers to escort, ships during World War II and torpedo U-boats and all kinds of things. That is why our airport is heralded as having the longest runway in Africa, because these heavy bombers, they need a long runway, before they take off. But we're talking about a modern era where it is a scary thing that if you're arriving at the RIA at night, you have to be cognizant of the fact that there might just be power outage, which is a serious thing. Those of us who grew up in Liberia during the Civil War and years when we had intermittent crisis in this country, we know the story of Joe Tate and the rest of the people. Whether people say that was politically played or what that was planned or whatever it is. But the story is there was no light at the RIA. There was also a famous thing that happened some part of last year, that when the president was coming, there was outage at the airport. And that was a serious thing in this country. So how come we are still faced with these same reoccurring problems all of the time? If we are not able to, look, let's be realistic. If the government is unable to run the affairs of the Roberts International Airport for it to meet international standards, the best thing to do is either to go into a public-private partnership with some firm to run the affairs of the airport in all aspects, and the LAA serves as more of a regulatory authority to make sure that, yes, the airport in Liberia is not being exploited, or to fully privatize the airport. Those are the options. Because if you have airport that is rated at a high international safety level and provides facilities and all that, it boosts the confidence of travelers to trust the integrity of your airport to want to travel to your country. But if a traveler or a would-be investor gets to see a travel alert and a security alert from the U.S. Embassy, having done their investigations and gone through all of their findings to come out and say, look, you have to be careful when you're traveling to Liberia, that is not a good thing. And one thing I've noticed in Liberia is we are faced with the same problem over and over and over and over again. We are always not finding long-lasting solutions to problems. Rather, we go for quick fixes. Then the question of how patriotic are we comes up. We do not want to hear negative accounts of our country on the increase. The negative news always surpasses the positives. There are solutions to these problems, and there are solutions that are long-lasting solutions. I remember when Minister McGill made the pronouncement and said, oh yeah, we'll have solar farm, at the RIA to provide sustainable energy. We'll have solar farm. Yeah, we'll renovate this, we'll renovate that. But where is the pace of the work so far? Where are we? Because if we had made significant strides, this travel alert wouldn't have been issued. The Americans are not on a smear campaign of Liberia. No, they're not. So what would be the response from our government? Because we tend to be moved by when foreign missions and foreign governments speak. So, oh yeah. But when ordinary citizens who make use of the airport facility, more than are complaining, we tend employing these kind of complaints as political noise. People just want to carry bad news about the country. People just want to carry negative news about the country. Who in their right mind, a person who loves their country, will just want to spread negative news about their country? And unfounded and unsubstantiated news as well. So we're calling on the government, from the national legislature to the executive, to look into this matter. If the RIA is too much of an axe for us to handle, then we should start looking into going into a public-private partnership. Now look, company XYZ, don't pass through the back door, allegedly like Western Cluster. No, come through the front door, put a tender out that people can bid. Now look, we have our airport and we want a company that is going to invest into our airport infrastructure to make it modern, and we'll go into profit sharing on a percentage basis. It's either the private company based on how much they invest in what we want to see our airport become, take 60% and the government takes 40, or they take 70 and the government takes 30 in terms of revenue generated over a period of years. Or you do all of the work and we lease the airport to you, for a number of years until you can regenerate and recoup your money. But it's about time we settle these matters once and for all. Look at most of our institutions that are supposed to provide services to us in this country, our public corporations, how they are struggling. And they are meant to be income generating institutions. The LWSC, that's the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation. The LEC, the Liberia Airport Authority, the National Transit Authority, the NTA. And we can list and list and list public institutions and corporations that are struggling every day. And we cannot seem to find long-lasting solutions. We have to start thinking outside the box and go into meaningful contracts and partnerships that will put our country on the map on a positive note. Go to the RIA. What's there to do? What's there to see? What's there to enjoy if you're taking somebody along and the person is traveling? The space is big, it's huge. I've been all the way behind Charlesville. There's a place called Amoda. You go all the way back. The airport has got a very large land. We're still trying to construct a cargo area. Tell me if we have cargo handling, a big cargo port at the airport there, a cargo hub, wouldn't you see cargo planes in their numbers coming to Liberia? Not just to deliver, but to take Liberian products out of the country? The processing time that it takes before you can get your cargo from the RIA, is it not going to reduce when you have a very big and operational cargo hub? It will. Will it not generate revenue for the government? It definitely will. If you have the airport upgraded, not just 8 duty-free stores that we can boast about the Roberts International Airport, but enough facilities built to international standards